and we can all sing that Miley Cyrus song together as like they wreck Channel Fireball again. You came in like a wrecking ball.
You're not going to keep going?
That's all.
All right, everyone. Well, hey, I owe you an apology. There is a little bit of a delay. That's a lie. There's a lot of an echo in this episode. Something wrong. It's currently 1:30 in the morning. I'm going back to edit it. I must have hit a wrong button in the recording. So those of you who stick through it with this episode, I do think the conversation is really great. No content is worse than content with echoes. So I want to make sure you have content. This is actually the second take. It was a rough week for the podcast. This is the second time we recorded the podcast because things changed. And we didn't want to record an episode or release an episode with that outdated information. So hope you guys enjoy it. The conversation is great. We have a great conversation on what does it mean to be a top 3 TCG, and is LSS still working towards that? Again, I apologize one more time for the audio. It'll be better next week. We'll see you again. Hope you enjoy it. Goodbye. All right. Well, everyone, welcome back to MetaZoo be with you, a Flesh and Blood podcast. I'm Louie from KitchenTableTCG. I'm joined by two better people, Mitch from Midtown Merchant and George from Compete Sport. Guys, what's up? How you guys doing?
Well, it's only our second time.
For those of you who don't know, that was the first take. No mess ups before. I nailed it.
I also, The Wonder Years is one of my favorite TV shows. Great show.
This is a band. A band called The Wonder Years.
It's a great band too, actually.
Welcome to 2021. How's life, guys?
Better now.
But I think a little bit smoother than yours right now.
Yeah, this is also the second time we've recorded this podcast because
that is correct.
The first topic kind of got washed away with some updated news from some good news from distribution that maybe the video that I did a couple weeks ago.
I don't think why they just really wanted to hear me some more, so they decided to record it again, and I don't blame them one bit.
So we were redoing our podcast today. What are we talking about today, fellas?
Who knows?
What are our two topics?
Who knows?
George,
I think the first one
is.
Oh yeah, the first topic is actually moderately serious. So that one we got to actually put on our big boy
thinking hats for sure.
So I think the first question is, what is LSS's goal with Flesh and Blood? And I think they now have competition in that slot, right? They now have the Zoo is on fire. Genesis is picking up some serious steam. My Hero Academia, which I will have for pre-order, is coming out soon. It will be the best game ever made. Please pre-order with me.
It's the best game ever sold. I can't sell it, so please buy it from me.
So funny, they won't have enough to give to distribution if you're not direct with Asmodee. You don't get any.
Wow.
Okay.
Which is my point. Like there's some hot games coming out. Like there's some heat.
Answer the topic question.
I am probably 50% sold out of My Hero Academia, and I haven't even listed for sale yet.
That's awesome. So our question that we're going to get into is, what does it mean to be a top 3 TCG?
What does that mean? Is it the goal?
Yeah.
Right. Is that what we should be striving for?
Is that admirable?
Right.
Yeah. And then the second topic we're going to talk about is Tales of Aria and the
people are already losing their minds. Everybody needs to be like my friend Louie. Go to the freezer, get yourself some ice cubes, and chill. All right. It's been for pre-order for 15 seconds, and I'll bet you I have 50 messages asking me what my pre-order price is. I don't know. It won't be out for months. Please leave me alone.
And then we are going to do a MetaZoo Minute, and we have a first edition non-Kickstarter MetaZoo box that I just got confirmation. This will go out on Friday, but the a box opening can go out on Monday morning. So check the channel after the MetaZoo Minute on Monday for a first edition box opening.
Did you really just plug?
I just plugged my own video. Yep, that's how excited I am to open a first edition.
Boycott that video, everybody. Boycott that video.
George, when we recorded yesterday, you were much kinder to me.
Well, you'll
and
be
you
right
didn't
there.
Interrupt. You've already interrupted me more in this podcast than yesterday's podcast that we deleted.
That's true. You were more correct yesterday. Let's see if we can pick up that scene again.
That was actually probably our most collaborative, most in agreement podcast to this date.
Well,
and it is a shame. It is a damn shame that we cannot listen to it.
Actually, it's good because it means that distribution did the things that we wanted to do. So
That's
we didn't have
true.
anything. We didn't have anything to complain. Well, all the things we complained about got righted, or we think got righted. So hopefully, a lot of them. The main thing, not the price increase, but the main thing.
Started off strong, Louis.
All right. Well, let's hop into what does it mean to be a top 3 TCG. And I think it's important to say that the TCGs are a global business, right? Like we are talking a global scale, but there's going to be a lot of interaction in the United States here because that's where the three of us are from. So there is a conversation for a global scale, but I also think that there's some distribution stuff in the United States that we'll chat about, I'm sure.
I do think only in the South, right?
Getting started early today on your Diet Coke, George. It's 10 a.m.
That's late for me, I'll be honest.
I do think the big thing is, what does it mean to be a top 3?
Yeah.
And I think actually I had a different perspective of this because I didn't come from MTG world. I'm kind of a newbie when it comes into the actually heavy TCG realm. I'm more of the like Fantasy Flight Games, LCG model guy. I know, George, give me your sour fizz. So I'm really curious from y'all's perspective. I can provide my 2 cents, but it actually is not as valid, I think, as yours. So I'd be really curious to hear y'all's thoughts on that.
So, I mean, I think if you look at the top 3 TCGs, we're talking about currently in the market would be Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and what, Yu-Gi-Oh? Is that what we give the 3rd place slot to?
That's what it's been for the long time.
The 3rd slot's weird, right? Like, and this is where Flesh and Blood seasons are opening, right? You have Yu-Gi-Oh, you have Final Fantasy. You have
plays Final Fantasy.
You have Weiss.
Weiss, actually.
You have My Hero Academia. That's a joke. You pre-order with me. You have a bunch of these kind of. There's a fight for 3rd. There's a real fight for 3rd. Like if you go to 40 stores, they will almost all have Magic the Gathering.
1 and 2.
They will almost all have Pokemon.
Correct.
Then it's like a gamble. Then it's a crapshoot. Like there's going to be some that don't have any. There's going to be some that have Weiss, some that have Final Fantasy. That's geography. That is geography based. Easy for me to say. I think this is what Flesh and Blood sees as their opportunity. Is they want to be up there with those big 2. They want to say every card store should carry Magic, Pokemon, Flesh and Blood.
Mm-hmm.
And what that ultimately means is they're selling lots of product.
They're selling a ton of product.
Right. Like, is the top 3 directly correlated to position within the marketplace? So it's available everywhere.
Yeah.
It's widely available, and it sells en masse, essentially. Is that what it means to be top 3, or is it what's more heavily played? Like, what dictates something as being a top 3?
I would be stunned if more people played Pokemon than Weiss.
Or Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, like I'd be stunned. Like, Pokemon is a highly collectible game.
Mm.
And it's a playable game. Like, we do drafts in my store. Listen, they're attended fine, but like if it was only people who played Pokemon, very few stores would carry it.
Right.
That's not what it's meant for. It's that's not its thing. It's not its jam.
It's always been a good collectible. Yeah.
Do you guys feel like LSS's vision is to what do we say their motto is to be the modern TCG, the new modern?
I think that's kind of riffing off of MTG a little bit.
Right. And like, if that's your goal, to be the new modern TCG, in my mind, what that means, and I'm projecting here, but in my mind, what that means is like you focus on the gameplay, whereas like the current modern TCGs like Magic the Gathering and Pokemon have really moved towards like
collectibility.
Not that Flesh and Blood doesn't have the collectability, but like the main focus of Pokemon is collectability. Now Magic's doing all these fancy shiny versions. You have 18 different versions of cards. They don't even sell the draft boosters hardly anymore. Like it's like, is Flesh and Blood's goal to say, no, a new modern TCG is one that is played at an LGS, not sold on Amazon? not sold on the direct to market consumer thing, but is played within a game store. That's their whole thing, right? Like played in the flesh and blood and played in a local game store.
So I'll start the party. You'll set it up. I'll spec it down, Louis. I appreciate that, brother. If that's their vision, I think they need to reevaluate which way they're trending.
Okay.
I don't see a difference in giving Jeff Bezos boxes at pennies compared to my distributor, even in giving Channel Fireball boxes, 1 billion boxes at a reasonable price with 1 trillion promos.
Right.
And doing the same with Rudy.
Yeah.
And frankly, doing the same with Team Covenant, even though I think we can all agree Team Covenant is the hero of Flesh and Blood.
Right.
Overall. Like, I'll lump them in because I think the topic still holds. But like, I guess I want to be very clear here. I don't lump them in with the other two in anything other than them getting direct access to product and promos.
Because they do a ton of additional things to help the game
Correct.
grow. Not that Rudy and Channel Fireball don't do a ton of things to help the game grow, but it's growing.
They're pushing game. Yeah.
They're doing it in a different way.
Right.
They're doing it for a strictly, like it's a lot of monetary there.
Listen,
where
they're all about that action, boss. Like, let's just say it, right? Rudy,
Right.
I think Rudy would admit to this. If you gave Rudy Truth Serum, he would say, "I'm all about that action, boss." And like, listen, I don't blame him. Like, we all gotta be about that action sometimes, boss. And like, that's fine. But like,
he just said action boss about 12 times.
That's good. That's good. People like that. But the Team Covenant they seem to view this as a moral stand.
Yes.
They're like flesh and blood.
They're purists.
Yeah, it's a better game, and
Correct.
we have an obligation to support better games.
Yes.
And
That's why
they haven't jacked the price up. It's $97. It's whatever. Which like I think the other side of that is like if we all everybody in this chat right now had access to the amount of like guaranteed product that I'm sure Team Covenant has, we would all give it for $97.
For $96, right?
To
Yeah.
do that. Like that would be like we would all hop on that train. Like
I would do that for everything but Monarch, which would be $1,000. Continue.
Yeah, but like we would all hop on that train. Like that would be something we would all be a part of. So they do get an advantage because they were early adopters, and that's a whole nother conversation. Like they were early adopters.
They were real early. Like,
Yeah.
I am late compared to them, and I am early compared to 99.9% of stores.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
So-
them and Billy Owl were very early.
Right.
So
Very early.
And how Bill's still direct is mind-boggling to me.
Amen. Preach,
So then
brother, preach.
Then the question is, what's the difference between that and Amazon? And do they need to be that route in order to be the third TCG, the top 3 TCG?
Yeah.
And like I'm gonna let me start off answering that, and you guys can
George already answered, but it's fine.
Well, like I don't think that that's the same thing. I don't think that being the top 3 TCG means that you sell the top 3 amount of product. I think being the top 3 TCG in this world means that you are the number 1 played TCG. It means that when you go into an LGS on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, more people are playing Flesh and Blood than any other game. And it doesn't matter how much product is sold. What matters is that players are excited about playing the game. And I think if you were to go back to 2000, you would walk in and say to an LGS, Magic the Gathering is the number
And
1.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, but Magic the Gathering is the number 1 TCG, and then you have like the Pokemon, which is like the more kiddie, right? Because we were all kids back then. We were all kids back then, and now we're adults that collect Pokemon, right? Like that's where it is. But like I feel like
Charizard.
I feel like Flesh and Blood is, I think, the win for them. I feel like the win for LSS is being the number 1 played TCG, and that will bring them into that number 3 slot. And then the growth is,
Do you
goes
think
up
that's
from there.
their goal? Do you think they define it that way? Because
I don't think the market defines it that way. I think top 3 means top 3 sold TCGs. I'm not saying what you were told, but
go ahead, Louis, because what you're saying is exactly where I'm going with this freight train, brother. Keep on the track.
I was sold by LSS when I got into Flesh and Blood. I was sold that their goal was to be a game for the LGS, for the little local game store. And for me, like, I love that because I love my local games, not my store. Like, now I have a store or whatever, but like, I love Carl. Carl owns Paradise Games and like works his butt off during the day and then works his butt off at night to create a space for players to play the game. And like, I love Carl, and I was sold that LSS wants to support Carl.
Loves Carl too.
And I don't know if we've strayed from there. I feel like there's a lot of evidence that we have strayed from that with the Channel Fireball, with the Rudy was there early, and like again, I think these guys should have advantages.
Was very late. SCG was very late.
Yeah,
SCG was incredibly late to the party.
And got
more boxes than anybody I know by a mile.
Yeah,
by a mile.
So like, I feel like we're at a turning point for Flesh and Blood, where like LSS needs to decide: are we team Little Game Store, Podunk, West Virginia, the back alley? I loved Tulare Community College. The professor said the dens, right? The local game dens. They're not even stores. They're just holes in the wall where people play the game. And like, are they team the local game store? Or do they want to be the number one marketed and vision centered, and people know about it and everybody in the world knows about it and it's a huge IP? What do they want to do? Because if they want to be that, then they should just go to Amazon, because going around all the things doesn't make sense. They should just do direct to Amazon.
Yeah.
And we should just play at the kitchen table. And I'm happy about that as Kitchen Table TCG. Like, I'm happy about that. But that's not what I was sold by Flesh and Blood. That's not what I was sold by LSS. And I don't.
That was in the last year.
Oh yeah,
that was last year.
Let me be very clear. If you called them today, they would still say that to you.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I think, like, I didn't plan on going there today, but I guess I will, because you guys are great co-hosts, mainly you, Mitch. There's a reason I'm taking a bunch of other card games all of a sudden. That's not an accident.
Yeah,
we all are.
Yeah, I'm talking to Jameson Slayer today. I'm honestly getting a metric ton, maybe too much, of My Hero Academia. I'm all in on the zoo. Listen, like, I got no beef with LSS basically saying, thank you for your help, George, and other early card stores, but like, you're gonna get obliterated now. It's been a fun ride, boss, but I've used you and you're done. And that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. I'll be honest. And that's fine. But like, I think you guys know this. I felt a very serious obligation to Flesh and Blood to not maximize profit, but to maximize players for a very long time. When other people were at $150 from limited boxes, I was still at 80.
Yep.
My bundles valued Monarch first at $200 a box, and they're going for $400 or $500 a box.
Right.
I think it was actually valued at $170. I mean, like, and that's fine, because that's how you get new players in.
Mm-hmm.
But I think LSS is telling us, why are you wasting your time, boss? Like, I'm gonna take the path of Magic and Pokemon. I'm going to Channel Fireball. I'm going to SCG. I'm going to Rudy. I'm going to go to these people, and I'm going to say, how many boxes can you sell? Let's get this product in the hands of people. And that's fine. That's fine.
What they're doing is they're using this as a marketing strategy. Let's get this into big hands to spread the game in the name of the game, but they're doing that at the expense of small game stores, right? And what I mean by that is they're giving product at a more accessible price point. They're giving more product, and then they're giving free promos on top of that, which we can't sell. Well, I can sell because I'm a single store, but you all can't sell because you're a brick and mortar.
It's about being able to support the game. Like, for me, it doesn't matter. Like, I am my whole thing is the YouTube channel. Like, I don't really even care. Like, my store, if my store makes a profit, then great. I don't really care.
It's not making profit right now.
It doesn't matter. All I care about is the YouTube channel. But what I do care about more than that, more than my YouTube channel, maybe not. But what I want to be able to say I care about more than my YouTube channel is a new store who doesn't carry Flesh and Blood. I do care about this more. A new store that doesn't carry Flesh and Blood, desiring to hop into Flesh and Blood, because that's how the game will grow. I'm sorry, like, I'm gonna say it. I don't think that Flesh and Blood grows because it's a marketable game. I honestly, I don't think that Flesh and Blood is a marketable game. The name Flesh and Blood is not marketable. It's horrible. It's
That's why people call it fast.
I say that with the most possible love. But like when my wife says, when people ask my wife what I do, which is great, right? She says,
you'll learn. My wife says unemployed when people ask what I do.
When people ask my wife, she says, she like skirts the question because she doesn't want to say that I represent a card game called Flesh and Blood.
Sure.
And like, I think that I think that the way that Flesh and Blood becomes the top 3 TCG, and I've said this on my channel a million times, is by being the best TCG. I don't think I don't think that it's about marketing. And
what does that mean?
It means getting local game stores to play game.
No, but what does being the best TCG mean?
It means
like what?
It means being the most. Let me
the most playable.
Let's divide here a little bit. Let me make sure let me restate what you're saying to kind of help.
Yeah.
And tell me if I'm wrong. That's true. You're saying that you want it to be the most playable card game with an emphasis on local game store play.
I think that is the best way for Flesh and Blood to grow. And I think that if you look at the last 2 years, yes, Rudy helped the game get off the ground tremendously. And there's tons of people who bought sealed product and kept sealed product held. But the number one growth of the game happened when, George?
Oh, it happened with Monarch, actually, didn't it?
Well, that's not what I was going to say. Mitch, what do you think?
At the beginning?
What do you think, Mitch?
The number one thing that helped the playability was the skirmish events.
I think that it was unlimited. If you look at unlimited, when unlimited came out, the game skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Because every single person who had played the game, when I first started playing the game, I couldn't stop playing. Yep. Every single time I played a game, I ended the game and I said,
"Can we do another?
Do you want to play again?"
Right.
And then I ended. It was the first time in my entire life since the first weekend that I played Magic the Gathering way back in Gate Crash in 2010. The first time that I played Magic the Gathering, I had that same feeling, and I had that feeling for a year. 2 years of Magic the Gathering, and I never had that again because they changed the direction of the game. And now I had it with Flesh and Blood again, and that's what got me to fall in love with Flesh and Blood. And I really believe that the vast majority of people fell in love with the gameplay, and that the collectors, the investors, were there, and that they have even turned into game players with Unlimited. Yeah. And so if this game is going to be successful, it's going to be because of the players, and it's going to be because people are excited about playing and they need a place to play.
Listen, I think, in my opinion, LSS is making it clear where they want that place to be, and it's at your home.
Right. Based on.
Okay. So I got to push back on that, George.
Okay.
Because I don't think I think that LSS is confused. I think the LSS is moving in two directions, because Road to Nationals and Armory kits suggest, yes, I want you to play in a local game store.
Correct. Okay.
But in skirmish events suggests I want you to play in communities that have helped the game grow online and gameplay online, right? But on the flip side of that, every move that they've made in the last 6 months in terms of competition and prices says, I want you to buy every single product from Channel Fireball, Rudy, Star City Games, or whatever the fourth person, or TC.
I think this goes back to what we talked about yesterday before we had to redo a little bit,
which nobody knows.
You talked about in the beginning. You mentioned in the beginning.
You said it 4 times now.
I know. I meant
They just don't know what the conversation was about.
Yeah.
So here was the big crux of yesterday's discussion. There are now 3 tiers of stores for Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, this is really, I think
this has not changed.
Yeah,
the first tier is those that are direct. They get a ton of boxes of every set
at the best price.
Get them at the best price, and they usually get free promos to go along with them.
And better and more free promos.
And exclusive. Most of them are not in Armory kits or anything like that. Yeah.
The second tier is the fat cats like me. We have a big enough account at both distributors that I can pick and choose which distributor to go heavy on. And this matters a lot when one distributor is priced 18% more than the other.
Correct. You have the power to move.
This is not a level playing field.
Yeah.
This is not a level playing field. Your store that you go to every day looks a lot like the other two chumps on this podcast. They don't get access to that distributor. They're not big enough.
Right.
So they're
Or if we do, it's few and far between. And when we get
they're going to get a case or two
Right.
at most, and not a first. They're going to pay 18% more than me,
Right.
Yeah.
which I appreciate you guys doing for me. I want you all know that.
Hey,
I thank you.
You're welcome.
So here is where this really matters. We are now seeing people sell online retail lower
To the viewer. Yeah.
lower than the
Than
price
distribution.
these two chumps pay for their boxes from distribution.
They're
So you
taking
go
a
to your
significant
LGS
loss.
and they say, hey, Louis, I'm at Cavdane's Market. I would like this deal that I pulled up on my telephone that they have here. Louis is going to tell you, lol, there's no chance I can't buy it at that, let alone sell it at that.
I'm going to say, yes, send me the deal and I'm going to buy my product from that store rather than
Right.
This,
Right.
So your LGS is literally unable to match the prices you're seeing on Facebook, on Discord, on all these things. They can't match it. They can't, let alone beat it. They can't get close to that even without shipping because that's literally less than they're paying.
Correct.
This is a tremendous, I cannot describe how big of a problem I think this is for LSS.
And George, I want to
have this uneven of a marketplace and it turn out well for anybody. And keep in mind, I am the big beneficiary on this.
Exactly.
I win in this scenario because I get access to both distributors, and frankly, my fat butt can afford to buy from both distributors.
Or you can say, hey, I can afford not to take that product that you want to raise the pricing on.
No,
I can't afford to do that.
Right.
I lose access to product if I say no.
Right.
You have the power to say, no, I'll just go over to this guy and they'll work with you and negotiate.
So what this looks like is you're going to have, in my opinion, probably 10 to 15 stores. And you'll notice I will not be a part of this. I think this is disgusting. I think this is gross. You are going to have 10 to 15 fat cat stores selling flesh and blood at just ridiculously, offensively stupid prices, then you're going to wonder why your LGS won't take the game.
Yep.
You're going to go to your game store that doesn't take flesh and blood, and they're going to say, can you start carrying this game? I'll host the events. They're going to go online, look at the prices, and go, I can't buy it for this. How the hell can I sell it at that?
Exactly.
I'm not going to carry the game.
Yeah.
And that is how you have a game that shrinks. That is how you have a game that has problem getting traction in the marketplace. You will not see me doing this god-awful nonsense of 2 boxes for 100 or 2 boxes for 120. Not only because, listen, I'm making no money at that price. I make nothing at that price.
I don't understand the business decision there unless you're trying to get out of the game.
Also, that will mean that the game is not going to succeed long-term, in my opinion. I think this is where we really all agreed yesterday. You can't, on the one hand, drop prices below distribution cost in many cases, and then wonder why a new store won't take it. The answer is too obvious.
Yeah. So, George, help me understand, what percentage of Game Store are you?
I would argue I am probably certainly a top 1% game store in terms of volume. Certainly for Fab, I am. Undeniably for Fab, I am. I am certainly probably top 5% for Magic.
So you're saying that 99% of the other stores in this country, and probably, I don't think that the overseas have this problem. That I'm hearing from my comments.
They definitely yeah.
But we're talking just a minute, but not 99% of the local game stores in the United States fall into the category that we are saying, why would they start picking up this game? And so this is where I get into this. Right now, you're seeing the exact same thing happening in Magic the Gathering and in Pokemon, right? Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, it's a fight to the bottom. I do the same thing. I do this for Pokemon. I buy boxes from distribution. I don't have a
Me
huge
too.
local scene. I put them on TCG Player. I made a whopping $1.50 per box of Chilling Reigns of Pokemon in the last week. It's great. It was fantastic. It was
Congratulations, Louis. You really nailed
really
it.
worth. It was really worth the investment. But for what I'm trying to say here is that why would anybody start that with Flesh and Blood?
Right.
Like for me, like I love Flesh and Blood. I want to support the game. But if I wasn't Loot, if I wasn't Kitchen Table TCG, and if I was just a better human being, a normal person, and not the weird dude that I am, and
Your
I
poor
own a
wife.
store, why would I want to start this whole new game? And then here's where I connect this is like, what? You're not going to compete with Pokemon and Magic the Gathering in that space. So find the next best space, which is really, in my opinion, the better space, which is go all the way the opposite direction, support the game at the local scene, support the game, make sure that the local game stores are vibrant and happy and getting new players in. And I honestly, I feel like we were here. Like, this is why it's so frustrating.
That's what's frustrating.
I feel like a year
I don't
ago
know what
we were here.
switch.
We were here.
Oh,
and
it
like,
happened
A
at
year
Monarch.
ago, this was the best game to support because you had the best margins.
Yeah.
You had it consistently could sell. It could never keep it on the shelf. And now we're here on the completely opposite end of if it's not $65, I don't want the box.
Everything shifted at Monarch. Our cost went through the roof, and the prices cratered. And I mean, like, and you can't have both, right?
Yeah.
You can't have both. Listen, I'll be frank about this. If somebody if LSS called me today and said, "Hey, George, will you take Fab right now?" I'd say no. I'd say no. I would not own fleshandblood.com. I would not be able to learn about the card Genesis from Monarch every day when I go on my website.
I'm going to take it off right now during this podcast.
It is. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because like this is a lot of work for me to be put at a significant disadvantage to my competitors. And keep in mind, I have a significant advantage over probably 99+% of the market as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're local. Like I see these people on Facebook fighting to sell you boxes at $55.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I haven't sold a box of Unlimited. In over a month.
So I am very lucky. My customers know this. I will charge you a fair price. For me, a fair price for Unlimited is $85 right now because of our cost and price, because of our cost of our cost increase. And like, listen, I'm going to be sold out of Monarch Unlimited.
Right.
I think that's now. I called my buddy yesterday. That's basically official. I'll be sold out of Monarch Unlimited probably after Road to Nationals, which we will not go to for me. And I'm lucky. Now, I think part of this is I think LGSs still do have an obligation to support their players.
Yeah.
The reason why my customers don't balk and throw fits and cry at $85 unlimited boxes is because I think I create a really good environment for play. We do a lot of free tournaments. I give away a lot of free packs. I give away a ton of free packs. If you have an impromptu tournament, even if it's free entry, brother, I'm throwing you a first edition pack. Winner gets a first edition pack, and I hope you pull a library so you can rub it in Louis' face.
And they do.
Yeah, like that is
your players at your store love to give me crap.
I know that's
so funny. Like I can almost tell who is a compete sport player online in my armor events based on the way that they talk to me. It's great.
Do you know if Ken Fisk is Ken part of
No, Ken is he's on the West Coast.
Okay, because he does the exact same thing every time I open a library. He makes sure to message and screenshot it for you.
Oh yeah. Ken's the best. Ken's gonna love that we just shouted him out on the podcast.
Oh no, I just did that.
Me every Friday. He messaged me every Friday and says, "Is the podcast out yet? Is the podcast out yet?"
This is for you, Ken. Thanks for making Louis feel bad.
I think stores have an obligation to create a good place for players.
Yeah,
but I think LSS needs to look in the mirror, which is what you're saying, Louis.
Yeah.
And say, hey, are we doing what we told these stores we were going to do? And I'll be frank, right now, I think it's really tough to answer that in the affirmative.
Yeah. No,
I'll be
100%.
frank. Like, I sent LSS a novel about how unhappy I was with distribution.
Yeah.
And I said, like, listen, like, this will affect me, but this won't crush me. This is going to crush a lot of players.
Right.
I didn't get a response.
It's going to crush
You
a
mean
lot
a lot
stores.
of players, or you mean a lot of smaller stores?
Both.
Yeah.
They're yeah.
Like,
they're relative with one another.
I think the for me, the Road to Nationals and the Armory kits and the skirmishes suggest that they want to support the local game store, the small store, but the rest of it suggests to me, like the box prices and the direct stuff and the promos and all that stuff suggests to me that they don't understand the impact that has.
The macroeconomics of it.
I think hold on. I think you just said something smart without realizing it. I know that's hard for you. So, like,
Jesus.
you just said they did it without realizing it. And Louis, I think I think that's exactly right.
Well, I meant to say it. It's crazy. Like, I actually thought through that in my brain, my little small pea brain here. I actually thought through that, and it's crazy.
Is there a way to put fake news up in front of that when you say it, just so they know, or is it going to be understood by the viewers? I don't know.
Yeah,
they didn't have to do this. They accidentally fell into this position. Is that what you're saying, Louis?
I'm saying that I when I have this conversation with other people, because like I try to not be in our little I feel like sometimes if we were just only communicating with the three of us, this would become a little echo chamber, right? Like, because other than George, we kind of feel the same way. But like, so I toy around with some conversations with some other people, and one of the things I hear from players who don't own a store, who from people who don't care about the store dynamics, is, well, Channel Fireball is really helping the game get going with the competitive scene. And I'm sure that part of the deal with Channel Fireball, in order to get them to do that, was that they get better box prices and allocation and whatever, and that's what was needed to get the competitive scene going. And they bring a lot of knowledge and professional and a lot of things to
market awareness. Yeah,
and that's listen. You can't argue with that. Like,
no.
You can't argue. We talked about this with the calling. You can't argue that Channel Fireball is the best move for that. You can't tell me that you can't argue with that. I feel like it's short-sighted. Like, honestly, like, I'm super excited for Vegas. Can't wait. I'm super excited for Road to Nationals.
I'm so excited to see George's party dance on Instagram.
I have a Road to Nationals event. I'm super excited about it. I'm honored to do it. It's going to be great. I'm super excited for all these things. But my desire for this game is not for it to be the best, the hottest new thing right now. My desire for this game is to be the best trading card game in 10 years. And my desire for this game is to be in the most stores in 10 years. My desire for this game is that when we come back and look at this 10 years from now, that we say, holy moly, we were at the beginning of that. We helped this game grow. And like, if you want to give all that to Channel Fireball, that's fine. I don't think that we're here in 10 years if it's all in Channel Fireball's hands.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think that they will be here. I just think your store won't carry it.
That's exactly right. I don't think it'll have the same clout though.
Like, here's what I will say: is like, I don't think I'll be hearing Magic the Gathering in 10 years.
But Magic the Gathering did not scale to where it's at because of Channel Fireball or large stores.
No, I mean, like, listen, I think
Channel Fireball, but Magic the Gathering grew because it was in all the LGSs, right?
I think what Louis said is, again, exactly right. See that, Louis? This is just like a repeat of yesterday. I don't think LSS set out to burn these small stores. I really don't. I don't think James White said,
no.
You know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to burn the britches of every LGS that doesn't have $100,000 in the bank because I hate them. That doesn't seem like James White to me, especially since he's going to make me direct soon, right, James? What I do think happened is they kept not understanding how big of a deal some of these moves were. When a distributor calls and says, even when they learn after the fact, the distributor rose their prices 18%.
Yeah.
I don't know if he understands enough about American distribution to realize that is the only distributor 90% of the stores have meaningful access to. Meaningful. Right? You can get a couple cases from the other guys. That's fine. But like your number one, most of your boxes, if you're a small store, is going to come from the distributor that rose their prices 18%. I don't know if James White knows that. I wonder if he just thinks about like the channel Fireball stuff. He's like, listen, we had some extra play mats. I gave it to my buddy Sasso because Sasso helps me out.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But I don't know if he thinks through that, like, I will now have customers say, I had 2 customers come up to me this week saying, hey, can I buy the Armory Kit playmat? I've never had a customer ask me that before because the answer is always obvious. Of course not, Bozo. They're Armory kits.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you like if you want my Armory kit, you better have an Armory or you get to play in the games. I don't care what.
But here's Channel Fireball. And Mitch, you said that it was different promos, but
that one was Armory Kit. I forgot about that one.
And like that one,
I'm thinking of Rudy. But I do know you got triggered from that. And they were selling the box at $74 with that mat.
I like the Rudy promo. Like I'm a fan of giving a content creator, somebody who's helped the game, somebody who's in from the ground up, a unique item and whatever. Like I'm a fan of that. I think honestly, George, I agree. Like I think they should be reaching out to bigger stores. I think that I think that you and all those guys who are early adopters should get a custom playmat. I'm totally a fan of that. I shouldn't get that. I certainly shouldn't. I was not at the beginning of the game. I didn't take the risk. I jumped on the train in the middle when it was already successful. I should have to go make my own playmat. My point here is that like it was the same playmat that we are not allowed to sell. It's like
it's a little hypocritical.
And I don't think LSS thought this through. Like
I don't think so.
They just were like they had extra playmats. They were like, John Sasso's cool. He's helping us out with a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna like throw some his way and let him do what he wants with it.
Yep.
And like I don't think they realized that listen, like that, like the market for Monarch Unlimited wasn't, I would say, booming before that, but that did it. After that, we were off to the races. Now it's like buy 1 box of Monarch Unlimited, get 15 cases of Welcome to Wraith Unlimited for free. I mean, like we are off to the races. And I don't think they intended to do that, but I do think they need to look in the mirror and say, like, geez, like we've kind of created a mess of the marketplace in the United States, and we need to go back in and kind of unjam this. And like we know what the part that makes me upset is they can do this with like 2 phone calls.
Right.
Yeah, right. They can call Sasso and be like, listen, man, we screwed up. Can you please not sell playmats that are in Armory kits? It's just not a good look for us. And like, we didn't think it through, man. You're still our buddy. We'll give you an extra $1,000 of tails and good luck and God bless. And then they can call the distributor that we've been referencing and say, hey, you are wrecking these small stores. These small stores can literally not compete. They can't compete on first edition, let alone unlimited at this price point. Like this is going to get ugly. Can you, if you don't stop doing this nonsense, we are going to look elsewhere for distribution. And I'll be frank, like who they should call. I never thought I would say this. They need to have James White call Mike Waddle.
and please let us be in on that phone call.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
can we just listen? I'll mute.
Listen, like I am dead serious about this. Mike Waddle called. They told us all, everybody who's getting first edition MetaZoo boxes, said, if I see you selling that box for $100.01, you are going on Santa's naughty list. And Santa's naughty list doesn't get a lot of second edition, with one exception, which is fine. So, like, listen, that needs, like, under U.S. law, Mike Waddle cannot call George and tell him you have to sell it at $100. If I want to charge $20,000 for a box of MetaZoo first, I'm allowed to. But Mike is allowed to say, I hope you enjoyed those boxes. Those are your last.
Mm-hmm.
LSS can call that distributor today and have that exact same conversation. If they need to find a backbone, call Mike and borrow his. like they can do this tomorrow.
to follow up on that, they did do one thing that they said they were going to do, and Louis, you mentioned this in your video. They blacklisted a ton of stores from distribution because they were selling
Great.
things under map. Awesome.
Yep, that was great.
But
wait, go ahead.
But on the flip side of that, like, what do you do with WT and ARC that are literally going for pennies? Like,
yeah,
I would, it's insane. And you mentioned this yesterday, Louis. At this point, you're just opening boxes because the EV is so that's the bonkers thing. The EV is so much higher than $60.
I'm basically competing with Midtown Merchant now. That's
that's easy.
I have opened 20 cases in the last 3 days. Yeah, it's a lot.
Does it look like my office right now?
Dude, it's crazy. And I'm not competing with Midtown Merchant. I could never be as clean of a single store as MidtownMerchant.com.
We're best friends. It's fine.
Please use my promo code Be Kind to save $5 off your order of $50
Can you
or
please
more.
change it to Mike Waddle's Spine? Can that be your new promo code? Yes.
Well, we found your cut for the start of the video, by the way. I'm just saying.
I already wrote it down. So let's end this conversation. And I think let me correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're in agreement here. Let me end this conversation by saying, if we believe that if Flesh and Blood wants to be the top 3 TCG, the attitude of LSS shouldn't be to become the most sold TCG and the most clout and whatever, but the attitude of LSS should be, I want to be in the most local game stores, and I want to see players in the most local game stores.
Right. So I want to replace MTG Night with Flesh and Blood Night.
Here's my thing. And this is where we don't know the information. If LSS wants to stay true to their initial vision, then you're exactly right. If this is turned into let's make some cabbage.
They also have investors. We're not aware of the investors.
They have no. I believe James White still owns the majority of the company, frankly.
But they still have people pushing for returns, I'm sure.
Yeah. Like if James White has talked to Sasso too much to the point where he's now also all about that action boss. Like, listen, then they're doing a lot right. Then they're doing a lot right.
Yeah.
But
I don't think we're playing the game in 10 years. I honestly don't.
No, I agree with that.
I think we all agree with that.
Yeah. Like every single, when I bought the Tunic, when I bought the Eye, every single investment I've made, when I started the channel, when I quit my job, every single part of Louis DeGeorge has invested his life in the idea that we will be playing Flesh and Blood in 10 years. I do not see me playing Flesh and Blood in 10 years if that's the direction of LSS. I just don't think it happens. I just simply put, I don't think that you can be successful in that world. There's already too much success. Magic the Gathering, already successful in that world. Pokemon, already successful in that world. We've been trying to get there for other TCGs for years. The number one way for Flesh and Blood to be successful is what we've already seen happen and what we've already seen be successful is get players playing the game at their local game store.
Simple.
It seems easy, but like what we don't see is the behind the scenes of like, okay, the next step on that is a road to nationals. The next step on that is the calling. And in order to do the calling, Channel Fireball strong arms them and says, okay, well, this is what we want. And then what's your options? Well, your options then are to do it in another way. But like, you don't know how successful that is.
I also mentioned this. I don't think I realized until listening to an interview with James White recently. TCGs are impossibly complex with lots of layers and variables that lead or fail to its success or failure. Like there are infinite amount of variables that can play into that, right? You have to have enough product. You have to have it at the right price. You have to have the right business model. It has to be playable and people have to enjoy playing it. There's a whole collectability factor, there's all the different, Louis, half your channel is about just the economics of the game. Maybe not half, but a good
to my
chunk.
Comment section, that's the only thing that I talk about on this channel is
videos, Louis? Just out of curiosity, do you ever do anything other than money videos?
I do. It's amazing. I do. Wow. I do gameplay.
I love how nobody watches your gameplay videos, then complains about make them.
I love that.
Just like,
there's a YouTuber.
I think viewers who watch your gameplay videos know that you make other videos, but that's only the 10 people that watch.
That's only 2 of us and 8 others.
there's another YouTuber who let's just put it this way. He has 25,000 subscribers, but his videos get like 200 views. So he's obviously purchased like, 24,500 subscribers. And he did a video about me and alpha investments. And in the video, he said that that my channel is interesting, but it's obvious that nobody plays the game.
Yep.
And I was like, have you not watched like
any of my gameplay videos?
Like you've obviously only watched the EV videos, like which I know
which
is
are great.
So my favorite part about that, and I've told this to everybody, I am convinced that there are more games played in your Discord server than the rest of the world combined. Like, it's like you go on there at like 1:30 a.m. in a drunken stupor, and you can play your Ira deck against somebody in Finland.
In Singapore, yeah.
And it's like there is always 85 games being played in your server, and I'm just like, how is it
and the Team Covenant server's the same way. And they do on Tuesday nights, they have 100
Covenant server.
Well, I can give it to you. There are 100 different tables of people playing every Tuesday. Like, it's bonkers. People from all over the world.
For George, this is amazing. There you go. I'm on
deck. And just think, George didn't even know how to use Discord like a week ago
until we helped him.
That's actually true. I don't know how much.
Everyone, I want you to know, Mitch and I can take full responsibility for George's access to Discord.
And actually, what I'm going to do is sincerely apologize to all of you because now he's just trolling every single thing. Think about it. I'm actually not going to add you to Team Covenant's Discord.
So like
it's a safe place for me right now, and I want to stay away from George.
And I took the bait from somebody who was like clearly baiting everybody, and I was like so mad at myself because I'm like, I could see the hook through the worm,
and this is why you don't read
onto that sucker.
Don't read YouTube comments.
I was like, I don't even care what you think. Like, that's the bad part. Like, if Louis disagrees, I don't care. But Mick, like, if you disagreed, it would matter to me. And like, it's very painful to me when I take the bait of people who have this like, meh, whatever.
I don't understand that logic, but I'll let it slide.
All right, so this is a great transition then away from that topic to the next one, which is, still, I don't want to be like negative on Channel Fireball. It's not like Channel Fireball's fault. But Channel Fireball just put out their pre-orders for Tales before I even have my allocation for Crucible Unlimited.
Well,
so my favorite part about this is not only did they already open pre-orders, they already sold more boxes than any LGS will get that I know of, except for like 4.
Yeah,
I'm probably one of those people. Yes.
Oh, by far. Like, are you like? Yeah, of course. Like,
well, we don't know how much of Tails is going to be available, but I'm not going to be asking for 1,000 boxes.
700 boxes of Tails. I love you, Mick. There's no chance.
Watch me, George.
I'm rooting for you, boss. Like, it's going to be like
I will request 70,000 boxes.
Decade will get more boxes. Probably Spencer will get more boxes. Bill will get more boxes than that. That's probably it. it.
So before I even have Crucible Unlimited allocation, Channel Fireball is selling Tales First Edition. This is the world. I'm telling you, this is the world. That doesn't spark joy in an LGS. Now, I will say, I love, if I'm an LGS, if I'm an LGS, I love that they opened up at the price at $150, and that's now like standard. I know as a player, you probably hate that. As a person who wants to buy it, you probably hate that. Anybody who's been playing in Discord events, and we'll still have boxes at MSRP for some people. But like I was dumbfounded when I got like 18 people sent me that. Thank you to the 18 people who sent me that. I did buy.
And then you sent it to us.
I bought 2 cases from Channel Fireball. But like I was dumbfounded. I was like, I have no clue how many Crucible Unlimited boxes that I'm getting in 8 days, and here's Channel Fireball already able to do their pre-orders for Tales.
I think it's Crucible.
What makes you think that?
Sorry. I think, man, this is a tough one. Let me first think this is not a critique of Channel Fireball. Like, this is a critique of like Channel Fireball is what Channel Fireball does.
They're a business.
They're a business.
They have a ton of leverage, and they actually have a benefit. Well, sure.
So
Well,
we are
and
just
why
about-
can't LSS provide some guidelines of, hey, you're direct, you cannot put this up for sale into X date?
let me warn everybody, because I was convinced that Tails was going to be at MSRP or close to it, maybe 150 on the high end. Can we please, for the love of God, as a community, agree not to make the same mistake we made with Monarch? If
Yes.
some store is like, hey, I can take 20 million pre-orders at $99 a box. No,
Don't
they
do
can't.
it.
They're gonna
Yeah.
burn you. If
Right.
a store says like, oh, this box is on fire, you can have it for the low price of $2,000 a case. Don't do that. Don't do
Don't
that.
do that to yourself.
Please don't do that, because like you're gonna get burned. You're gonna be holding that store's bag. Don't hold their bag. Tell them to carry their own darn groceries. So like at the end of the day, I have my motto in life is there's plenty of mistakes. Can we please not try to make the same one twice, despite me making the same mistake every week by doing this podcast with Louie? Like it is, let's make new mistakes as a community.
I love how he just works those in.
Oh yeah,
I don't. It's so effortless. I don't even know how to do it. Like I have to think about being a dick. He just does it.
So George, what does that mean for the viewer? What does that mean for the viewer? Where should they buy their boxes, and how much should they be buying boxes for right now?
Here's what you need to be doing today. You need to go to your local game store and ask them, are you getting Tails? How are you handling pre-order for Tails? Are there a limit? You need to talk to your local game store right now.
And I will tell you, because the pre-orders are open for one distributor.
I'm
just saying.
Pre-orders are open from one distributor.
That will be open for the others sometime soon.
And that will mean literally nothing. I will go in for about 8,000 boxes of Tails. I will not get. I might get half that if I'm lucky. Maybe if I'm lucky. I suspect I'll get a quarter of that if I'm really lucky. So like, listen, like we won't know our numbers, but I will say this: if you're not a part of your LGS community, you're gonna probably be stuck paying over retail. That's what it feels like to me right now.
Yeah.
If you're not part of your I did $100 boxes for Monarch when they were $400 or $500 for my in-store customers.
That consistently played and showed up and played like that were there and supporting the community.
If you're showing up to events, I got your back because you got my back.
Right.
The other thing, there's other places that will sell for MSRP or below, right? Team Covenant, I suspect, will open up some slots.
You need to get on Team Covenant slots if you can get on Team Covenant.
If you ever
I'm not even on that.
Get on Team Covenant.
Instead of you getting on Team Covenant slots, if you could just ping me and let me know that the slots are open.
Then I can get on that.
I can get on Team Covenant.
Let me in.
So here's my argument with that, George.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I love you, but I can't get my numbers from allocation as a store.
No.
This is going back to where we are. I said we were moving on, but this is very much similar. If people come up to me, it's like, I have no clue how many I can pre-order or how many I can take. Because again, I still don't have Crucible numbers. I still don't have the next, but
you don't know your exact number, right? If you were to ask me today, George, what's your number going to be? It could be, 1,200. It could be 4,000. I can't see it being a lot more than 4,000. I don't think it could be 4,000. But I know I'll have enough for my in-store customers.
That's all, and that's what matters to you the most. That's what I don't hear.
I love all of you who all 30 of you that I guess including the monitor, probably all the 230 of you that I was able to do boxes on fleshandblood.com. Come learn about the Genesis card on there. But
I've already removed it.
Damn it. But cancel this podcast. It's over. I care about my in-store customers more than you clowns. I love you guys.
I actually kind of offensive. I know you love it.
So I get that.
Stores will have an idea of what they're getting. They won't. If you got 100,
I have no idea. But I'm a new store. I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
If this is your first set, you don't know, but you're not going to get many. But you helped Paradise before.
Right. So I know how many Paradise. I mean, I can guess on how many Paradise I get. But
the important part for this, let me also say to my store owners, let's also be better this time. Do not
Pre-orders.
pre-order boxes before you get your allocations.
George,
Do
here's the thing, though.
not. That is gross.
They got their allocations, and those were cut by a distributor. So can you even trust your allocations?
Those Western stores got freaking.
I think that was a freak accident. That was a freak accident. But
they got hosed.
So
hosed.
And here's my point about that. I agree with you. I'm very lucky. I don't take money until I have boxes, or I will not take pre-orders for 10% of my boxes.
That makes sense.
But I understand that a lot of stores need the pre-order money to pay for the bill.
Correct. I get that.
And I'm not there's going to be some people who it's going to happen like last time. I know of a store in California that ordered 700 boxes. They got 200. They were allocated 200 and they got 40. That means 160 customers got wrecked. That's bad luck and that sucks. And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But that's going to happen again, and that's going to happen with everything. That's going to happen this time. That's going to happen on Friday with Forgotten Realms for Magic the Gathering for a lot of these people. That sucks. That doesn't bother me too much because that's not widespread. That's not a huge issue. You're talking about probably less than 1,000 boxes across the nation for that.
Sure.
What happened last time was way too many stores said, "Oh, I put in for 2,000 boxes. I'll probably sell 50% of those and expect to get 1,000. This is my first ever Flesh and Blood set, and I got 2 cases."
Yeah.
Right.
Don't do that. If Louis were to call me tomorrow, I hope he doesn't, and he were to say, "Hey, George, I'm going to put in for 2,000 boxes of Tails. Do you think I'd be safe selling pre-selling 500? I would drive to West Virginia and slap him across the head.
That'd be the first time that we would meet. And I anticipate that you'll probably slap me in the head the first time that we do meet.
I'm going to give you I'm going to front you. I'm going to warn you right now. So,
wow.
Your poor wife.
That's forward.
You're over mono, right? You don't mono anymore, right?
Yeah.
I should have asked that first. I'm sorry, Louis. If you were to ask me what you could realistically pre-sell, I would tell you 10 boxes. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'm not doing a pre-sale at all. I've already had people ask me, and this is why things like this frustrate me. This is where Channel Fireball comes out with their pre-order, and then everyone in the community expects that every other store knows and has their pre-order. That's where it's it's frustrating.
Sure.
Let me also be clear. Stores are months away from getting their numbers.
That's
months. We are not.
I did not get my Monarch numbers until a week before release of Monarch first.
Yeah,
my allocation.
Yeah.
I will not get. I get my numbers earlier than most because I'm not a chump, and I got a month before release. You got some next year, Mitch. So you also brought something else there. So it's most stores won't get numbers for months.
So where do you guys think we land? Channel Fireball comes out, $150 price. They sell out of, we think, approximately 700 boxes. Then they up the price to 160, and that's when Louis bought 8 boxes. So they definitely sold 8 of them. What's the price? Where do we land on?
Ready for the hot take? Ready for the hot take? I think SCG comes in, as Miley Cyrus likes to say,
MSRP.
like a wrecking ball, and they're at 125. And we can all sing that Miley Cyrus song together as they wreck Channel Fireball again. You came in like a wrecking ball.
You're not going to keep going?
That's all I know.
Hey, time stamp that. That's the intro.
Yeah.
That's the intro. All right, go ahead.
I think SCG is going to do what they did last time and just be like, "Oh, that's cute. Let me show you how to run a business." Bam! In your face. And listen, I'll be honest, that's our only hope as a community. Yeah.
So, do you think Channel Fireball is the only direct store that has their numbers, or do you think TC and SCG have them already?
I would be stunned if they didn't give everybody who's direct their numbers by now. Stunned.
Yeah, okay. I think that's probably the way it went. So,
no one may not know is Rudy. That would not shock me because Rudy gets 15,000 play mats for every box he sells.
So, what do you think? Is Unlimited coming out at the same time as
First? Coming out. The rumor I've heard from people I trust is it's coming out 60 to 90 days after First,
which would be way better.
I've heard 75 days. So, I think that the community needs to figure out what they think about that. Because here's my take. I think that we had enough Monarch First Edition.
Yes.
I think we had enough Monarch First Edition that the players had the cards that they wanted. Everyone got all
at decent prices.
Everyone got all stupid and bought boxes up to 500 and overextended. And like, don't do that. Right now, go on Channel Fireball and buy the eight boxes that you want for $160. Yeah, buy $160 boxes, and then when Star City Games comes out, buy some more boxes at $125, and then just be done. Like you don't need
and buy from your LGS.
Buy from your LGS, obviously. I mean, we already said that, but like then you're done. You don't need more than 16 boxes. Maybe that's enough for the players, and like I think First Edition is enough.
And then when Unlimited comes out, sell whatever cold foils you don't want, buy Unlimited for free, and then
I have a terrible like I woke up this morning with like a sad panda in my stomach.
Gosh, you need to start taking Alka-Seltzer because you're going to be stressed out for the next 3 months.
I'm like, I'll be honest, I'm dreading it. This feels so much like Monarch to me.
Yeah.
I cannot handle it. Like
they said this is the best limited set they've ever done.
No, that'll help the problem. Good job, Nick. That's like
limited.
Like,
what are you doing?
What is going?
Just wait until they announce PvE with it.
They're not going to announce PvE. And you're going to be extremely depressed and salty.
Yeah, 100%.
I think they will.
What makes you guys think that PvE is
going? Let me finish this first. I have a very, 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 very bad feeling that we are about to make all of the mistakes we made with Monarch. We are going to make them all again. People are going to buy boxes 2 weeks before release for $550.
No.
And they're going to get wrecked.
What's going to happen? If there's one thing that I know about the trading card world, it's that history repeats itself and people don't make good financial decisions.
Every single Magic set I've ever carried has been the best set that will ever come out. The value is amazing. You have to get 15,000 collector boosters, and then magically on release day it craters.
So I was actually going to say 500. No, I don't think so either. I can see 300 to 400. Yeah,
I think 350.
It's going to happen. It's going to be
and then it'll dip back down to MSRP 150. Months after.
So my gut is that we're going to draw boxes. It's going to dip down around 150.
Yeah,
and it's going to be like, and listen, like I got hosed on this, right? I bought a bunch of boxes at 400. That's fine with me.
You idiots.
They're going to get $1,000 by the end of the year, and Louisiana owe me a box of Monarch.
You guys are so cute. It's so fun.
Listen, I won't make that mistake again. I learned from my mistake.
Do you guys want to make a bet that Tails? Do you guys want to go with this bet that Monarch will be worth more than Tails? I believe that Monarch will be worth more than Tails at the end of 2021. Would you guys like to, or end of 2022? Would you guys like to make another bet for the end of 2022 that if Tails is more than Monarch, you guys owe me one box of Monarch First Edition?
Yeah, why not? I'll do that. So you think Monarch will be worth more than Tails?
Yes.
I would not be.
No. I got Tails faith. I'm in.
Is there any channel? All right.
You heard it here first. Tails to 1K.
All right. Jesus. MTG. Is there ever like a new box that is worth more than a previous set? Does that exist?
Time Spiral Remastered.
I don't care that. I can't give away Zendikar collector boosters.
Are you telling me that Monarch is the Zendikar of Magic? Did you just say that?
Dear God, please don't let that be true. Dear God, I have so many boxes. Please don't let that be true. I can't believe you put that in the
You said it. You created that comparison, not me.
Boxes of Tails. I hope Games White is like, no, everybody gets boxes, but Midtown Merchant.
Why would you say that to me?
That's so mean.
You put out that Zendikar Rising is like Monarch.
No,
That
you
was
said
100%
that.
you. George no longer direct. George, no longer
George,
direct.
do not give George direct. Do not make him a top 5.5 percenter. He's already 1 percenter.
All
He
right.
doesn't need more.
So I definitely think. Are we pausing?
No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you got to go. Okay.
I definitely
getting
think
close
that we see $150, $200, $300 boxes. I don't think it gets higher than that.
Oh, you're
Oh,
nuts.
no.
You're nuts. You're nuts.
Before
Here's what will
release,
happen. Here is what will happen. I will call it right now. My buddy John Sasso is going to get $200 by the end of the middle of next month.
by the end of the day, by Friday when we post this podcast.
That could be true. By the middle of next
Could be
month,
true,
I think
actually.
that will be at 200. I think SEG is going to come in like a wrecking ball, and they're going to sell out instantly. They'll be just like last time. They're going to get 1 trillion cases. They're going to sell out of 1 trillion cases in like 5 days. And people will all be like, oh, look, this set's not hot. It's not selling out instantly after they get 15 trillion cases. And then he's going to sell out.
And then
And
they'll
the
announce
price
PVE,
is going to go skyrocketing.
and the price will go skyrocketing. 100%, I agree.
Yeah. I don't think it, I will be very surprised if we don't see meaningful pre-orders at $400 to $500. Let me be very clear here. We should not.
Make George wrong.
Do not
George,
do that.
absolutely
Do
Don't-
not
just-
make
like,
George right.
when you see a box of tails pre-ordering for $250, take a look at eBay sold listings for Monarch First Edition and remember that there's going to be more tails than there was of Monarch, arguably, probably.
And there could be way more. Let me be
Yes.
very clear here. They have brought on 2 new printers.
Yes.
There could we have an idea of how much Monarch is printed because we know how much Crucible is printed. We have no earthly idea how much
Monarch.
Tails will be printed because there are 2 new printers, and I will say I have gotten bigger restocks the last 2 weeks from the Japanese printer than I have at any other time in Flesh and Blood history.
Yeah, because you have access to that second distributor. That
Bingo. Don't be a chump. So I can't help that, you guys. I can't help you succeed.
yes, you can. You do help.
I
us.
mean, you
It's
can.
fine.
You just got to give us each 6 figures each, and we'll be fine. We just need money. We just need capital. We just need to wave it in front of the other distributor and say, "Hey, I have some money."
That's actually true. Let me be
I'm well aware.
That's actually how you get them with that other distributor. That's
Yes.
actually true.
Hey, I have $100,000 to spend. Can you help me? Help me help you.
Distributor. That's actually true.
So,
I was gonna fight it, but that's absolutely how you get a distributor.
welcome to the market.
Which is why Louis and I get a box apiece from them on a consistent basis because I have $5. Here you go, sir. All right.
This is why Rudy says not that he told me not to do what I'm doing, but here we are.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
He didn't tell me that. That's really weird.
No, you didn't watch his recent video, huh?
No, I don't watch all of YouTube
Sure, how
videos.
anyway, moving on. That's MetaZoo Minute. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So we're
So
gonna open this box of first edition that you can watch on my bond.
boycott.
Why are we
Boycott.
boycotting?
Next Monday?
Yeah, some of the boxes are a little damaged. I was a little concerned about that.
Don't. If you get a damaged box of MetaZoo first edition, don't complain.
Yeah, just open
Just
it.
mail it to me and I'll pay cost for it and open it.
So listen, I think Louis. I think actually somebody else. I think Louis gets stole it from somebody else. This graph of marketing.
Oh yeah, somebody sent it to me.
Yeah, of the MetaZoo marketing is going through the roof, and the Flesh and Blood marketing is 0. And
It was
listen, I don't.
Let's tell them what it actually was.
It's a
It was
Google trend.
Google trend. Mitch, your camera is frozen. There we go.
Sorry.
It was a Google trend for Google searches, whatever. MetaZoo. Basically, you see the Flesh and Blood graph like this. It's all up and down, and then MetaZoo goes up, and Flesh and Blood goes down. Yeah. Continue, George.
I'm actually opening it up right now if you guys want me to pull it up.
No.
That's fine.
So the and then listen, I think here's what I think. Well, God, this is a really Mike friendly episode. I hope Mike listens to this as he makes me direct to MetaZoo. Now that I think about it, here's what I think Mike has tapped into, and I actually thought about this after we botched the last filming. Mike is doing very good at organic marketing.
Yeah.
Like nothing was cringier to me than Aoki getting that one of one super rare heart. And like that is the last time I think he's ever mentioned Flesh and Blood.
Please stop bringing that up. It makes me so
It
sad.
makes you so sad. And I
It
want you
makes
to
me
know I'm going to make a
so-
shirt just with Aoki opening up that heart and have Mike sign it and give it to you.
Every day, not that I feel like I deserve it. That's not what I'm saying.
Correct.
But every day that you bring that up, it makes me sad for the rest of the content creators. It makes me sad for the content creators.
I'm not a content creator, so I really don't care.
Yeah.
So the, like,
But George does have money, and that's what makes him upset. He's like, I poured lots of money into this, and I don't get a 101.
I get a
I won a 7.
like, I between us, I messaged him. I offered him.
Do you do EDM music?
Huh?
Do you do any kind of EDM music? I mean, I know you sing Miley Cyrus on the side, but I mean, I think if you did better music, you actually might get
George,
101
George, you were singing Mike's praises.
Yeah. So like,
Yes, go
Mike
ahead.
did not give, at least to my knowledge, Mike did not give Steve Aoki a one of one Chaos Crystal or Mothman.
He gave him a 101 of test print.
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So wait,
I'll
was
send
that
the video.
before or after Aoki was all in?
Well, I
It
don't
was
know.
after. I think it was after.
So,
But
and that is to me the big insight. Like
he
I
started
think
supporting it.
Mike looks at who is supporting MetaZoo and then supports them.
Sure.
It's organic, and he's like, listen, I appreciate what you're doing for the community. Here's how I can help you. And it feels like LSS is trying to force it on one hand and ignore it on the other.
Well, they haven't updated their Instagram since 2020, and I know that we all are in like this weird place where we think that 2020 was like last week, but like 2020 was almost a year ago, a full year.
Correct.
So they haven't updated their Instagram in almost a full year.
Since Nationals, New Zealand Nationals.
Meanwhile, since we started recording this podcast, MetaZoo has posted 3 times and done 14 updates.
Has updated their stories, yeah,
and has reached out to content creators. He's messaged
responded
me
to your message, yeah.
It's like the amount of social media and commitment to growing the brand is immense. And like we're not just, what are you doing?
I'm following MetaZoo on Instagram now. Thank you.
We're not just, I'm not just comparing to Flesh and Blood. Like I'm not just trying to blanket compare to Flesh and Blood. What I do want to say is I do feel like Mike is doing a great job at promoting the game at a macro level, at a more like a grassroots level.
Correct.
As well as he's going to Channel Fireball, and Channel Fireball is acting as a distribution, and they're doing some MetaZoo content, whatever. Like he's doing both things. And I don't want to harp on this, but like I will briefly say, like I wish that Flesh and Blood did more of that. Like I think it would be good for the brand. I think it would be good for the game. I think that it would be good for the community if Flesh and Blood did more, social media and did more interaction on social media and did more of that. I think, the interview I did with Mike, he was talking about t-shirts, and I was like, Mike, why do you care so much about merch? And he was like, well, people want to represent the brand, and that's important for people. And I was like, oh, so it's not just a cash grab. Like it is a desire to see people who want to support the brand be able to support the brand. And like, fact of the matter is, I like wearing band t-shirts. I would love to rock a Flesh and Blood t-shirt, but I can't. And like t-shirts are easy. Like I have Kitchen Table TCG t-shirt. So you can get a Kitchen Table TCG shirt, but you can't get a Flesh and Blood shirt. You can get a May the Zoo be with you shirt, but you can't get a Flesh and Blood shirt. Like, why is that?
So can I, Mike, if you're listening to this, can you please make a MetaZoo Hawaiian shirt? And like in a big boy size, not in like infant sizes like your shoes were. Like I would love to rock some MetaZoo stuff, but like I have real person sized feet.
The best
He does not have real person sized feet. He has massive feet.
Mike has already apologized, which he owes you no apology for your size of feet. Mike has already apologized in my comment section for the shoe size thing, and I'm sure he'll do it again.
I'm sorry you have freakishly large feet, and we never imagined somebody with a size 18.
I would like a pair of shoes. I would rock them. Let me be very clear here. But like make a Hawaiian shirt. That'd be great. Look, I think I think that here is, I think, the difference. And I thought about this a lot. MetaZoo is trying to be a community around a game. And I think Flesh and Blood is a game that supports a community. Mike, I think Mike, I'll be interested if he listens to this, if he agreed, if he says George is right as always, or not. I think he cares more about the community than the game. Like, the community is what will make the game great, and I think he realizes that.
I'm for that.
And that matches the artwork, right? That matches the feel of the game.
Nostalgia.
Right. It is about the people who play it.
And the interactions of the cards are all about interactivity with individuals within that community. Yeah.
I feel bad on him apologizing for the shoes. Mike, I'm just kidding. I would like a pair of shoes.
He would like a pair of shoes, but they're
Mike does not want to leave anything to chance, man. I love that about him.
No, like I'll say this,
he's a stats guy. He's a numbers dude.
I'll be candid. I was pretty upset when I sent my novel to LSS about how bad these stores had it, and I had to call them to get any response. They didn't respond back.
Yeah,
I'm one of their very earliest stores to take this game, and certainly the first store to do it at scale.
You moved percentages of alpha boxes at $80 a box. That's how. I just feel like people need to understand that. And you're not getting a response.
I didn't get a response
about a major concern.
It was a heartfelt letter, and I mean that. It was you guys have a major problem, and I'm very worried. And conversely, Mike is apologizing to me for not making size gigantic shoes. Somebody who has not sold a single box
bigger
game
problems
yet.
Yeah.
And this is not even related to the game.
Yeah.
Right.
To me, that shows it's frankly why I'm very happy to carry MetaZoo. Because Mike really does care that his stores feel supported.
Yep.
And he cares that the community feels supported. And I think LSS used to, and I think they can in the future. I just think that right now they're going through a pretty rough patch, to be frank.
I think that's fair. I mean, you go from hundreds of stores to thousands of stores carrying your game within months. You can't scale up fast enough to handle that.
I don't have sympathy for that. I'm sorry. I really don't.
Okay. How do you handle that though, George?
You hire somebody.
You're on an island with 3 million people.
Yeah, if only there was a way to hire somebody outside of New Zealand, then they'd really be in business. But unfortunately, only New Zealanders are allowed to work. I forgot about that. At the end of the day,
I get it. I'm not saying that we talked about this yesterday. They need people. They need a team in the U.S. to support the number of stores that they have here.
Then hire them.
Yeah, right. They need somebody in the time zone to actually handle problems at time.
No, they're not responding to emails in any time zone. They're they're overstretched. They need help. And let me be very clear. Alan is a godsend who works 1 million hours a week.
Correct.
If Alan ever when Alan had his kid, I was very, very worried.
For 2 weeks, no communication with LSS
together.
Yeah.
But Alan's a dude. Alan's one dude. They need more people. They need somebody in the U.S. because frankly, the U.S. is in a very weird spot. Everybody's putting in for 1 million boxes of tails, but you have these small stores getting crushed by distribution. You have these small stores not wondering how they're going to be able to succeed with the game. They need more people.
Yeah, and they need somebody in the U.S. They need somebody in the U.S.
And also, MetaZoo went from 0 stores to a bunch of stores, and Mike seems to be handling it just fine, frankly.
Well, and we talked about distribution not being flawless. And distribution has not been flawless, right?
For what?
And he stepped in because he stepped in times where distribution is maybe not exactly what it is.
He stepped in when there was a distribution problem. You guess that's exactly right. I thought there was a distribution problem, and he stepped in.
Listen, this box releases on July 30th. Okay, you know what else releases on July 30th?
Crew.
What is that, Louis?
You know what box I have in hand right now on the 22nd?
It looks like a first release box. That's the first release box they've ever done with distribution.
Do you know what box I still don't have my allocations for? This
Cool.
this is people. This is a real concern. Like I know people think we're just complaining. I don't want to use. Somebody else can use the word, but I don't want people to think that we're just complaining. This is a concern that we have for United States.
Well, and every time we call distribution, I ask, hey, do you know where our boxes are? I have no idea.
Clue. No clue.
No clue where they're at within the world. We're told
No
that they're on the way. We have no communication from LSS. They said that they've shipped them. They're on a ship somewhere in the ocean, and they'll be here soon.
Meanwhile,
Legitimately, it's happened.
Meanwhile, some certain people who maybe already know that Crucible is going to be delayed are buying up Majestics from Crucible First Edition to prepare for their big event.
Weird. Listen, this has been a complaining podcast, but I want to say that
this is better than yesterday's.
Yeah, but I think
because we complain more, right?
I think what we're all saying, and I think this is listen, I feel this in my soul. This LS right now, Flesh and Blood is not in a safe place, in my opinion. They are teetering on the edge of having real problems. And once those real problems start to peep up, it's really tough to squash them. It's really tough to get back on the right path.
Correct.
Because stores won't take the game, and they probably won't give it a second look.
Right. Regardless of how good it is. And that's the frustrating thing.
And here's what I'll tell you. I just thought of this, and this is not great news for LSS. If a store called me today and said, hey, George, I only have enough capital to take MetaZoo or Tails, what should I take?
MetaZoo.
Bingo.
I would, yeah. I mean,
unfortunately,
right now,
dozens of stores on Flesh and Blood. I have dozens of stores on Flesh and Blood. I have helped them get into dozens of stores.
And those same people are now messaging you. What do I do?
I can't get boxes. Oh my God, I can't sell for the
I can't afford boxes, right?
What are we gonna do? And it's I feel terrible for them.
Right.
I feel terrible for them. Because I told them that LSS had their poop together and they were going to kind of always be in their corner. And now they're getting charged more from distributors than they're selling for boxes online.
And
again, let me just reiterate. You can fix this very easily. You can fix this tomorrow.
Yep.
You can fix this tomorrow. You can hire 2 people in the United States to communicate with stores. That's their job. They get paid $50,000 a year. So you sell what? I don't know, 1,000 boxes, and their entire salary is paid for.
Maybe
right?
Not.
I don't know. I don't really care. My point is, LSS can afford this.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
You hired 2 people to communicate with stores and to answer questions, to talk people off the ledge, so that we don't have to sit here and complain in a podcast and be in the dark. If we had more information, if I could interact with James White and ask him a question and say, hey, what's going on with Crucible of War Unlimited? Why haven't I got my allocations? Oh, well, we're running into some problems. We're working on it. Then I'm not having this podcast right now complaining about not having my allocations.
Even if the news is bad, we just need to know it. We just need transparency.
I believe they announced today that Crew U is getting delayed. Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure I read that this morning.
I haven't read that. They actually posted an article. Yeah, you're the only one with that info.
Whoops.
I'll open right now.
Yeah, you're probably wrong. But you know what? The thing is, let's get back to the advertisement of MetaZoo. And I think that's I think that they're doing a good job of branding the game. Now, I will say the other caveat to this is that there's no article. So you were wrong.
Well,
there's no article on the official website. So that means
it might be here later today.
That it probably just didn't post it. Anyway, the only argument to that is that Flesh and Blood is kind of in a lull right now with not a new set, and MetaZoo is also super hyped because the new set's about to come out. So that graph is a little bit misleading. But what's not misleading is a lack of posts in a year on Instagram for a game that's supposed to be trying to become popular in 2021.
Let's get something right. Pre-release. Well, they're right. They're right about some things. We've talked about the gameplay's right. What they do leading into spoilers. Spoilers is awesome. They nailed
let's
that.
get us something right. Let's get us something right. You're talking about let's get LSS something right. LSS is a lot right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, we have a lot wrong with this. But I think the way that they do spoilers, I'm not going to talk about the logistics of it or anything like that, but from a player perspective, I love spoiler season. I love the fun of it. I love that different people in the community get to share spoilers and that they give exposure. I'm not saying they've nailed it, but that is something they've done well. I've never been a part of any other TCG. So for me, I enjoy that season that they have going on leading into a month going into that release. Pre-release events, I don't really need to speak to those. But like, I feel like that is a good start. If they had similar interactions with community creators or content creators, or those who are leading community efforts on a consistent basis like they do with spoiler season, the game would be immensely more successful because they are reinvesting into the community that's investing in them. And that's the thing right now. They invest in those individuals twice a year right now, maybe 3 times if there's a supplementary set. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, like, how do I say this?
That's the only marketing strategy I see, though.
I think that's true. I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, like, so if I were to ask LSS, my gut is they would tell me that the armory kit is their marketing strategy. And I think that's a way to view it. I don't think they're wrong. But I would say this, like, an armory kit is very good and powerful. And I think Mike should do one, frankly, for MetaZoo. I think he's going to do it with, he's going to do that with the second set. But my opinion is that doesn't overcome the financial burden that new stores have to take on.
For sure.
And so, like, at the end of the day, like, the armor kit doesn't really matter if you're already struggling.
Well, yeah. And I don't think the armor kit works as a promo. I mean, like again, like,
it's marketing the local game scene, but it's not really marketing at a global scale.
It's such a balance because, like, I understand that we're trying to be a game that's played in the flesh and blood, but we're also trying to become a game that's played in the flesh and blood in the year 2021 and not in the year 1997. So, like, a poster that goes up on the wall in the LGS is not the ability to promote the game. Like, that's not going to help a new player get involved in the game. You help a new player get involved in the game by creating an active Instagram, an active social media account, an active everything. You create keywords so that content creators like my videos would get more views if there were more, like, you know, interaction on Instagram and whatever. Right now, if you search the hashtag FabTCG, there's just about nothing. Like, and LSS isn't helping support that growth of the game. And, like, that's
and important. I think it's just through ignorance. I don't think they're doing it intentionally. I just don't think they don't have the mindset or the resources to invest in that. And it's just time.
We've all heard it in a Rudy video. The number one most valuable asset in the world right now is eyeballs on your project. 100%. Eyeballs on your YouTube video, eyeball on your Instagram account, eyeballs on your Facebook page, eyeballs on your Twitter. Like, that is the number one most important asset in the world right now. And Rudy's not the first person to come up with that knowledge, just for the record, everyone. And you know what? Like, here we are, and we haven't seen an Instagram post since September. Like, it's just not there right now. It's just not there. They need it. No. And MetaZoo gets this. MetaZoo understands this.
Like, listen, everywhere. MetaZoo marketing is fuego, as the kids say.
And this is not to undershoot it. It's not crazy complex either. No. You could spend a week developing every single post for Instagram and social media, pre-make every post, the lock and load it, schedule it, and then on a daily basis, you just check social media. So one week, it doesn't take a lot. Or one day a week, you schedule posts for that week.
The same person that you're hiring to communicate with LGSs could be making social media posts.
I'm going to end this on another hot take. Y'all ready for this? Look, I'm getting you so many views today, baby. There's nothing but hot takes from George today. I'm spitting fire.
No one's here for you, George.
It's a group effort, but it's fun.
Let us know in the comment section if you're here for George. I'm sure you are.
Everybody is. So
there are some people.
Here's what I think we're getting at. Mike is more connected to the community than LSS is. Because Mike can retweet Louis' nonsense or re-Instagram Louis' nonsense because
be in my channel in my comment section.
Right. Because, like, Mike follows Louis for some reason. I don't understand. Make me direct Mike. Like there is, Mike is engaged with these other content creators. Texas Ted, watches every MetaZoo video the world has ever created and engages with it.
Yeah.
He is active, he is incredibly active in the Discord. Mike is active in his Discord. He does at everyone 20 times a day. And listen, maybe I don't need nobody else for dinner, but I'd rather have that than literally never hear anything from anybody at LSS.
Correct.
Mike is engaged in the community in a real way, in an organic way. Mike enjoyed, I hope, maybe not because it was Louis' video. Mike, I bet you usually enjoys watching people open up his boxes.
Didn't even send people boxes to open?
Getting people excited when Louis pack one's a chaos crystal because he's finally using the right mat. That's exciting for the whole group and in Mike.
Yeah.
He likes that. It's real. It's organic.
Yep.
I think, frankly, the best asset LSS has is James White. We don't give him a lot.
Right.
And that, I was just going to say the opposite. I don't think James
only
White
hear
needs to
from
be the
James
person doing
White.
this. I don't think that James White needs to be the person doing this.
Right.
The company's probably bigger than MetaZoo is. I mean, that's fine.
It's 100% bigger.
It doesn't need to be James White. But guys, I'm sorry. LSS, I love you. I want LSS to succeed.
That's the only reason we're here.
As much as anybody in this world, my life relies on LSS succeeding. I want you to succeed. And this is my life does. My life relies.
Your financial security does, at least.
No, my life revolves.
We gotta have a talk.
I'm not joking, guys. I'm not joking. This is unhealthy. I am unhealthy. I probably spend 16 hours a day. I probably spend 14 to 16 hours a day doing some sort of flesh and blood content or shipping some sort of flesh and blood card or doing something with flesh and blood.
This got so depressing at the end. I have nothing but you, James White. I only love me. I love you so much. Why won't you listen?
I know that it sounds like I'm just complaining, but the honest to God truth is I want this game to be successful more than I want a lot of things in life. I want this game to be more successful more than I want a lot of things in this world. That I would say beyond my family, beyond other than my family, other than trying to lose some COVID weight, which is really not that important to me. I want this game to be successful. And you cannot be successful. You cannot be successful in 2021 without some sort of presence on the internet. And I'm sorry, but you don't even own flushandblood.com. I'm sorry, but you're wait,
what's going on now? Wait, what's this nonsense?
I'm just saying.
All I have to say is what you paid for that website was cheap.
I'm just saying. Listen,
I told my wife I bought it, and she was like, what do you think? I'm like, I cannot believe they did not buy it. I can't believe
even if you didn't have the cash, go get a loan to buy the URL for your TCG.
Let me finish because I'm on something. Let me finish. You cannot. I don't believe it. I don't believe that you can have a successful business in 2021 without being around in the. And let me back up. They do have the dev series on YouTube right now, which is going really well. I think the YouTube thing's going really well right now. That is one facet to what needs to be a lot more. So yeah,
that's a great start. Now do that times 5 because there's all these other areas. I've never seen them interact in the fan page. Their own fan page.
They don't even interact in the. No, I'm not gonna say.
Yeah, there's a whole other separate one for retailers. We don't have to get into that. Alan does a good job.
You need more than Alan.
I understand, but
you need 10 Allens. You need 10 Allens. That's a fact.
We get it. We get it.
We need
2 reps for the US, 1 for Europe, 1 for Canada, and 1 for Southeast Asia.
Okay.
So, long story short, hire more people.
I want people to know. I want the game to see. I'm here.
Hire.
Flushandblood.com is still the best website. Don't listen to Louis' nonsense. A better company owns it. And that's a great place to end it.
All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
That worked. That's amazing.
This
I have so much power.
If you want to reach out to us, we are on Discord in our Discord server. Let us know. We do have a Discord server. In my server, you have a little place to chat about the MetaZoo podcast.
Yeah.
Leave your questions in the comment section. Leave your comments.
So
Argue with us.
respond.
Listen. We nobody in this podcast thinks they're 100% right and thinks that things are black and white. There is certainly, other than George, there's certainly gray areas in this, and we are simply putting out content because we believe in the games, and we've chosen Flesh and Blood and MetaZoo because they are the two games that I think we believe in the most right now. And like I just want people to know, like,
short term.
interact with us and like interact with us. Like, that's important. Like, we want to be around, so we will read the comment section, we being Mitch and I, and we will try to respond to things and like things, but participate in the conversation, and may the zoo be with you,
and also with you.
And remember to be kind to the people around you.
But apparently not all says.